know what is what.
Yeah, they're dead. They're all messed up.
This is of the Living Dead.
Oh, let's get started because they're already fucking diving in.
I know.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Cult of the Living Dead. This week we are covering the 2001 David Lynch film Mulholland Drive. As always, I am your host, The Dale, followed by my two co-hosts, Mr. Saya.
Yo.
And Twan.
What up?
Quick reminder for returning guests and first-time listeners, we are a cult movie podcast. We cover cult classics, B-movies, and horror. All these opinions are subjective. None of us are academically trained in movie critique, but enjoy the ride. All right, guys. So this is the second David Lynch film that we're covering for the pod. The first one was his inaugural film, Eraserhead, which was, remind me, guys, when was that? 78, 76? When that movie come out?
1977 is when Eraserhead came out.
1977? Damn,
For
I
sure.
said 76, 78. Fuck.
Yeah. What
Back.
what are the odds that the wheel chooses this movie and then the Thursday when we release our episode, David Lynch passes?
That is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
That is kind of wild.
Yeah.
It's
What a what a like a fucking, I don't know.
serendipitous, but not in a happy way occurs.
Yeah.
I don't know what the, I don't know
what's
what
a
the word
sad
is for this.
serendipitous word? Like it's not even a good fortune thing. It's just like a damn, like,
That's wild.
yeah. And
Just
like
a coincidence.
I guess, yeah. What like
Coincidence.
what a wild coincidence. And I did like, after I saw that, I was like, damn, I want to watch a David Lynch movie. And then I remembered that we were watching the movie that we were going to watch.
Yeah.
There's definitely other movies I want to see. I think Twan, you mentioned before we started recording, you want to watch Dune.
Yeah.
I want to watch Blue Velvet. I also want to watch
Elephant Man.
Elephant Man.
I've seen Elephant Man. That one's cool.
And then the one that I know that a bunch take place in LA, but he did another one.
I was Inland Empire.
Oh, yeah. That one came
Yeah.
out after this one, no?
I don't know.
I'm not too sure.
Oh yeah, I did it. Oh, in 06. Lost Highway. That's the one I want to watch.
Lost Highway.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking Roger Ebert fucking hates that movie.
Hell yeah. Let's go.
He
Fuck
said that
Roger.
he says
Random.
that movie's even like all the crazy things and like discombobulating things about this movie. That movie is like just that.
Let's go.
Hmm.
I'm down. I'm down for that more in that movie. Nah, I mean, I'm in general, like I'm just down. This movie was definitely a wild ride. But yeah.
This movie was fucking crazy. For you guys who aren't familiar with David Lynch, I think his most famous piece of work is probably Twin Peaks. At least it has the largest cult following. I mean, it had multiple like prequel movies happened, and then they like continued / trying to finish the story off with like a Showtime continuation, I think in 2019, 2017.
Yeah, 17.
Yeah. And then, like we mentioned earlier, we covered Eraserhead. It's just interesting to see that movie, which was also kind of a little weird and bizarre. And then watching him as a more refined director in this one. And he still has it, man. He still has that same fucking off the wall kind of, I don't know what the fuck is going on half of the time, like feel to his movies. But I do feel it's a little bit more refined and a little bit more, I guess, like honed in this one.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Eraserhead was definitely more atmospheric.
Yeah.
And it evoked emotions, whereas this one was definitely more story driven than Eraserhead.
True. That's true.
It did still have like the
atmospheric stuff.
It still had the atmospheric stuff. And I also thought that some of the music sounded like Twin Peaks music. Like it's
well, it's the same. It's the same composer, Andre Badalamenti. He's also the mafia dude who's like orders the espresso at the meeting. That's the composer.
Oh shit!
He looks like a mafioso.
Yeah,
it's pretty funny.
He just fucking spits out coffee into a napkin.
Yeah, Badalamenti's worked on a few Lynch things. He also did The Last Highway too.
I would have asked for Lost Highway. I would have asked for like another cup. You
I
know?
would have just spit it back in the cup if I wasn't gonna drink it.
Yeah.
You know, just spit it back in.
Yeah. He did take like a really big drink to like.
I know from when he sipped, it looked like a sip, and it was like, Dickie, that was a lot of coffee in that cup.
Yeah,
that guy's got really good sipping powers. He can.
It's so odd.
He can suck.
You can suck a softball through a garden hose.
Hell yeah.
Oh my god. The cast was pretty good in this movie, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
I guess this movie was like the breakout role for Naomi Watts.
Can see why.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people felt at the time that she should have been nominated for an Oscar. She wasn't, but I thought she was pretty good in this film, especially in the beginning. I kind of was like, man, she's like overacting the fuck out of this role when she's Betty. I was like, I don't really like this. Like, is it Naomi Watts? Is like, I've seen her in other stuff. Like, she's a good actress. And then when she like turns it on during her audition, and then when she turns into like Diane, I was like, oh, that was intentional. It was supposed to be that like over the top.
Yeah. Like real doe-eyed, dreamy, heady girl who's coming to LA with like all these
dreams and aspirations.
And hopes.
Yeah, that first opening scene, it looked like a dream state.
They did. Yeah, when she comes out of the
everything
airport,
was like really bright and fuzzy.
Yeah.
Waking dreams, man. Waking life.
Waking life.
Waking
life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely wasn't until after the switch that I realized
the colors.
It's
way more grounded.
Oh, okay. That was supposed to be like that. I didn't realize until it happened, and I was like, oh wait, this is a different movie now. Like, what is
up? I have a confession to make. I kind of spoiled this movie for me because I was Googling Mulholland Drive, and then two things came up, and I was like, "What? There's two versions of this movie?" And this movie was originally made as a like pilot, straight to TV pilot for ABC that Lynch directed with the same actors, and that one came out in '99, and then it got denied. So he reworked it, got additional funding to make the beginning sequence and the end sequence when she becomes Diane was like what was added on. And to do some reshoots, and that became the feature film. So, and someone in Reddit, I was like, oh yeah, like, well, obviously, like the dream part, and obviously so-and-so was asleep for the first half of the movie. And I was like, what? And then I immediately noticed, like, oh yeah, this has a lot of the like dream sequence, like iconography, like everything's really bright. The color palette is really old. Yeah. What is that? What is that? Like matte? It's really matte colored with the lighting being really bright.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, this is a dream, but I kind of ruined it for me. But then I immediately was like, oh, and then in the opening title screen, you see somebody sleeping before it turns into all the people who star in it.
Yeah.
But we don't know who's sleeping.
I
think that Naomi Watts, I know her most from being I don't know her name in the movie, but the main chick in the King Kong Steven Jackson movie.
Yeah.
Peter Jackson. Steven Jackson, fucking running back for the Rams. And then and she was also in Birdman, which was another good film with Michael Keaton.
I think the first time I had ever seen her was in The Ring.
Oh yeah, she is in The Ring.
She's literally the main woman from The Ring. And she's in The Ring too.
Damn, that's not like one of her most popular 4 in IMDb. That's crazy how times have changed. Because that movie was like a huge hit when it came out.
Yeah.
I thought the first Ring was legitimately terrifying.
Same.
It was.
I didn't see Ring 2. Or I have seen it. I just don't remember it.
Yeah.
The first one was crazy though.
She was also in one of the newest stuff that she was in was Goodnight Mommy. It's also stars the kid from The Boys, who's the little boy from The Boys. Billy Butcher's son.
Mm-hmm.
And
not his son. It's fucking what's his name, son?
I mean,
Homelander.
That's Homelander, so he got that nut.
It's on Amazon Prime. It's like a Prime exclusive, but I think it's a remake. Maybe I think it's a remake of like an Australian movie or something like that. Pretty good horror movie if you want to check that one out.
We also have Rita / Camilla Rhodes. Oh yeah, I guess we didn't mention this because this is like a big sticking point of the film. So Naomi Watts plays two characters. She's Betty Emis and Diane Selwyn
Betty
in this.
Elms.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, Betty Elms and Diane Selwyn, and then we have Laura Herring, who's an absolute bombshell in this film, who plays Rita and Camilla Rhodes. I think is she the wife in The Punisher? The one with John Travolta? Because she's in The Punisher.
Hmm.
Because I haven't seen her in too many things. She's done a lot of she's been in a lot of movies and a lot of like TV stuff, but I didn't like she looked familiar to me, but I'm like, I don't know where I know her from.
Who the hell is Leva Saint?
In The Punisher?
FBI bust of smuggling operation in Tampa results in the death of Bobby Saint, the son of the mafia boss Howard Saint. So if her last name's Saint, she's probably
She's the wife.
She's the wife. Yeah.
John Travolta's wife in that film.
Yeah.
And then we have Adam, who's played by Justin Theroux. Man, I didn't realize Justin Theroux had been like acting for this long.
Yeah, he's been around for a minute.
He's pretty hilarious in Beetlejuice. And he had his own TV series called The Mosquito Coast that ran for a couple years. He's been in a lot of things, but I think his most recent thing that audiences will know him from is Beetlejuice. He's
Rory,
he's
the boyfriend.
The boyfriend, yeah. He's all fucking weird in that movie.
Yeah.
I mean, there's other actors in this movie that I wrote down, like Robert Forster as Detective McKnight. He's best known for like Jackie Brown, The Descendants, and like Breaking Bad. And Brent Briscoe from The Green Mile and Sling Blade. He's one of the guards in that movie. But they're like in the movie for like a couple minutes. I feel like these three are kind of the only people of consequence that the movie revolves around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not gonna read the rest. They're inconsequential. Although I do like the actress who plays Coco, the landlady.
Yeah.
She was she was that was I forget her name. It's something Miller, but this is her last film.
Ann Miller.
Ann Miller, yeah, this is her last film. I guess like she was in a lot of the like golden age of Hollywood films that this movie pays homage to.
That's cool.
Because this movie is like kind of pays homage to another neo-noir film called Sunset Boulevard. And then you even see a shot where she crosses Sunset Boulevard, and I was like, why is that important at all? Because it never comes up again. But I think it's just either like a little Easter egg for that film. Because this is classified as a neo-noir film.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh shit. I want to give a shout out to Michael J. Anderson. He played the bigwig of Hollywood. He was in the chair. It's a little person in a big person's body.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Dude, he was creepy, man.
Yeah.
Should we cancel the film? And he just like stares at him. But we'll lose all the money. All right, we'll lose all the money. I guess they put him in there and like that body was all prosthetics because they wanted to make him look really big with a small head.
Well, they did a good job.
Yeah.
He looked like something out of a dream.
He did. He did look like something out of a dream.
He was also in Twin Peaks, yeah?
Yeah, I believe so. A lot of these people have been in a lot of Lynch things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen Twin Peaks?
I really want to watch. I was just going to say that. I really want to watch Twin Peaks.
I haven't seen it. I've seen like an episode or two.
Uh-huh.
I tried watching it when I was working security during COVID because it a fuck ton of downtime. But I never got around to finishing it.
Yeah.
So before we hop into the film, what were you guys expecting going into this? Obviously, we have some history with Lynch already on the pod.
Yeah.
Were you expecting it to be more or less weird than the Eraserhead? For me personally, I expected it to be less weird than Eraserhead, and I feel like it was. Eraserhead like legitimately made me feel uncomfortable at times.
Mm-hmm.
Or this movie just kind of confused me at times. I don't know. What did you guys think? What were your expectations going in?
I mean, I was banging for a Lynch movie to come up in the wheel for a couple of weeks.
For it?
Yeah, I want something weird. And I was expecting something weird. Not having seen any trailers for this movie, you know, and kind of basing it off of the one Lynch movie that we actually saw. I was hoping for something a little weirder than what we got. But yeah, didn't know of this movie outside of the wheel and outside of the pod.
Yeah.
What about you, Sam?
I'm on the same boat. I was expecting something willy weird. Anyway, and so yeah, I had heard a lot about. I mean, I've heard a lot about Lynch's movies just in general. I feel like some of the podcasts that I listen to like reference some like Lynch shit all the time. So I had like an idea of what this was going to be like, kind of like a general like, yeah, just an idea of what it was going to be like, but I didn't really know what it was actually going to be like.
I know. I remember last week we were talking about how we thought this movie was going to be based on like the Black Dahlia murders, but it had absolutely nothing to do with it at all, dude.
Yeah,
Nobody dies in this movie. Well, I guess in the beginning, a lot of people die in the car accident.
Well, technically, doesn't she die?
Yeah.
Yeah. In the end, yeah. A lot of people actually die in this movie.
Yeah,
but there is no mystery around the death.
Yeah.
This is not like a crime film movie.
It's funny because I prefaced it with my partner that it was going to be about the Black Dahlia murder, and she's like, "Oh, I'm down."
Sick.
Yeah.
And then at the end, she's like, "You fucking lied to me."
I do think that Lynch has said in general, like a lot of his I think David Lynch had said at some point in time that like his movies are kind of like the idea of his movie, a lot of his movies is spawned from like the Black Dahlia murder and like the mystery surrounding all of that. So I guess I can like listening to the last podcast on the left, what they just did with the Black Dahlia murder. I feel like you can pull like pieces and maybe like try to extrapolate and just guess some ideas of how those tie in. So I get like roughly, I feel like you can tell, right? Like there's some mystery going on in LA. So I feel like it's tangentially connected, but not necessarily like there. Because for sure not like a body that's been brutally like murdered and like, like placed in like a specific place. But it's just the mystery of it was kind of strange.
Am I misremembering? But was there a death in this movie that had the Black Dahlia smile at any point in time? I feel like there was like a flash.
I know I remember the beginning part had a bunch of weird like iconography from up until like the opening title card. Like there was a lot to digest.
Yeah.
Like I wrote down a few things like who are these swingers? Why is this very dreamlike? Who the fuck? What's going on with this smiling audience? Like swingers as in the dancing swingers. Like people are doing the swing.
Yeah.
And like, what does that have to do with anything? I'm guessing it's related to the movie that she's auditioning for later on in the film.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the backdrop of it, and then we get that freeze frame on like a heavily breathing person sleeping on a bed.
Yeah.
I heard that swing came back for a small point in time in like the late 90s, early thousands. So that was why I thought that was in there. So I thought he was I thought that was why he put in that like swing kind of scene in the very beginning of the movie, because I thought that he was trying to place us at a point in time so we could just have a reference of what was going on.
Well, I also think it comes down back to the idea that he's like, it's a neo-noir film. He's paying homage to like some 1950s golden era filmmaking, and that's when swing was big in the 50s.
Yeah.
And then you also have Adam's character, the director, is filming a period piece that also takes place in the 50s. Because remember, like, he's having them audition later on for like a doo-wop band? I forget what they're called.
Yeah. And they're singing, and that was the scene where he has to pick the girl, and he's like,
this is the girl, yeah.
Okay.
So I assume that it's a reference to that.
Yeah.
Like this movie is kind of the crux of everything, because this is where everything kind of falls apart.
Got it.
For our main character.
Yeah. Sorry, I looked back at some, like I just searched Lynch and the Black Dahlia murder, and it's Lost Highway, when there's like a kind of like yeah. So Lost Highway.
We'll put it on the list.
Yeah, I think we'll put Lost Highway on the list.
Just have all the Lynch films. It's just gonna become a Lynch podcast.
Yeah. Just switching.
One
They're-
Lynch at a time. Ooh, that's a good name.
Ooh.
One Lynch at a time.
What did you guys think of? I like the to bring us back to the film.
Brings back.
That opening sequence was like very odd,
It was.
and
I mean,
then
like,
I do
dreamy.
like the mystery that it sets up with
Mhm.
like with the Rita's character, and they like stop in the middle of the road, and like the guy pulls a gun on her,
Yeah.
and then there's like drag racing was also very big in the early 2000s, and that plays a role. And those
Mhm.
drag racers just like just die and like kill all the hitmen, and Rita just like walks away barely, like with a scratch on her head.
Yeah.
Well, I
Bro.
guess she did get concussed and have amnesia.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of this like whole opening sequence and how it like kind of set up the mystery for the film?
It was weird. I mean, the very first opening scene with the jazz music and the swingers, and that made me feel like, okay, we're in a Lynch movie now, and
Yeah,
things
for
are gonna
sure.
get really weird.
Mhm.
Even
Weird.
even though they
Really,
didn't
really
get
weird.
really weird,
Weird.
dude, you keep saying it like that, it's gonna make me fucking say it like that.
Say it like that, bro. What do you mean?
Weird.
Yeah.
Weird.
Weird.
And then
Something.
the jazz itself got to a point where it was like just noise,
Yeah.
and that made me feel weird.
Yeah, Lynch's
Weird.
use of like sound and music can really kind of like it does something.
It
Yeah,
makes you
so
feel weird.
it was a good. It was setting the tone for lynching.
Oh God.
It was so
What a tone
maybe-
is that?
maybe because of the beginning, like, and then gluing that part onto the accident, like,
Yeah.
which I feel
Yeah.
like does start the movie off in like I don't know, like how the traditional way, like it establishes like a mystery like right off the bat, and you're like, ooh, okay, the movie's gonna be about what the fuck? Why were they trying to kill this lady?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like connecting those two ideas like was tough. I was like, how the fuck are these related? Like I'm like typical David Lynch, like he starts us off with a bunch of weird ass shit.
Mhm.
And then this seemed like a very normal scene out of like a thriller movie. And it's like, all right, cool. This is the movie. And I'm like, what the fuck am I? What is this? Like, what do these mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just like fragmented parts of like a larger story.
It's like two
And-
pieces in one.
I thought that the beginning piece was more of like you know how he did in Eraserhead. No, because I feel like that it does tie in. I thought that he was more setting the mood of like this is where we're at at this point in time, and it's more of like a vibe set, like just like a vibe check.
Yeah.
And then the movie starts of like this is what's happening. I didn't realize until later that I feel like it's all kind of connected. Like that's the beginning of the dream.
Yeah.
But when
Mm.
I watched it, I only watched it once, but when I watched it,
It's a long movie.
it's a long movie. But when I started as like, oh, he's setting the mood, he's setting the tone, he's putting the mood lights on, he's bringing up the blanket, lighting the candles, he's putting his hand on your leg, and just getting ready. You know what I mean? And then it wasn't until later that I was like, oh damn, like this is.
Sounded specific.
Like, I didn't realize that until later. I was like, oh damn, like that was intentionally setting us up to be like he let us know from the beginning, like this is a dream.
Yeah, show us on the doll where David Lynch hurt you.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's interesting that you bring up Eraserhead because Eraserhead does have a very similar, like,
Beginning.
kind of chaotic beginning. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
then
feel
we're
like it
just
shows
introduced to the
you.
main character.
It almost shows you everything in the beginning of Eraserhead. Like it shows you like conception, and then it shows you the fucking monster. Whereas this one shows you the dream state, and then it actually shows you her like in the bed dreaming, and like really really fast though, like her
Yeah,
dreaming, and then it like continues on. So yeah, I like that he does that, and now that I know that he does it, I think that when we watch the next movie, I wonder if we'll be able to catch that in the very beginning if he does it again. I don't know if this is a thing that he does in all.
It
of
seems
his
like
movies.
a pattern that he has, like a style.
Yeah. But if he does, it'll be cool to. I think it'd be interesting for us to like watch the beginning portion, maybe pause the movie, take a guess of what the movie's going to be like, and like write it down, and and then as the movie's like going on, we can see if it actually like made sense or not.
That's gonna be damn near impossible with these fucking David Lynch movies.
Yeah, but I mean, it would be hilarious. Like, just take a crack at whatever you think this movie's going to be about.
I mean, I know it's a little hard because we already know what this movie's about, but if you were shown just the intro, like the jazz sequence, what would you think that this movie would be about?
There's a woman, and she's in a jazz band, and she's a really good dancer, but she's really sleepy.
I guess.
And her parents, this old people, are just smiling.
They were creepy as fuck.
Those old people were pretty. Yeah.
Irene, so that old lady, Irene, Jane Bates, was also Mrs. X, the mom in Eraserhead.
Oh, no way.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's the same
That's
actress.
Cool. Wow.
30 years later, she's a grandma now.
Nice. Wasn't she a grandma in that movie too?
No, she was a mom.
She know?
Oh, I guess that's true, huh? Yeah, she was a grandma. But she looks like a grandma in this one.
Yeah.
She was a MILF in that one. No, GILF.
Oh.
Ooh.
What about Rita just walking through the like Hollywood Hills like that? It's like all like, what the fuck? It's like, all that I was like, my partner was like, bullshit. She did all this in hills. What the fuck?
Bro.
Like she legitimately just walks through. Like, if you guys ever been to
also
from the LA area, like those hills are pretty, like they can be kind of dense with like foliage and shit. You can't really just like traverse through them if there's not like a trail.
Yeah, and the walk from Mulholland Drive to, I think she's
Sunset?
to Sunset is
Yeah.
a fucking journey. Like that's like an actual journey, and she does it in like, I don't know, like a handful of minutes, and like she's already like there. Like it seems like it happens really fast, and she's already down in the hills.
I think she does it in a few hours because she gets there. Remember, she hides in the bush. She's like all ninja.
Yeah,
it's all ghillie suit out. And
how
then
did no one see her? She wasn't even like fully in like a full black like dress. I think her shoulders were exposed. Like, it's like skin. Like I feel like you can easily see skin. Maybe if you're not looking,
I don't think
locked in on like doing something else.
And then the person who would have saw her was like the old lady, and her eyes probably aren't the best. She was already in a rush to the airport.
Yeah.
This was pre 9/11, so you didn't have to go 3 hours before an international flight.
The good old days. Back before the terrorist one.
Back when you could smoke on airplanes.
Her sneak was maxed out.
100, dude.
Yeah.
For reals.
Her sneak and she was able to fast travel.
Yeah.
Yep.
She unlocked a fast travel point before.
And then this is where we get, I feel like, our first storyline that goes nowhere with the detectives that find like the pearl earring or the pearl in the back, and they're like, "So you see any of these bodies got pearls?" And this is like, "Oh shit, these detectives are gonna come knocking around," but
nope.
They technically show up one more time in the movie, but we never see them again.
Yeah, that storyline just kind of like fizzles out.
Well, I heard originally they're supposed to be part of like the larger story for like the TV series.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Yeah, but then
because I don't know. Did you mention that already? That
was a TV pilot originally.
I had also thought that it was like a commentary on like how like the police aren't always the best at like investigating things, and like they just like they'll be there in the beginning and then it kind of like fizzles out and they just kind of run dry. I thought it was like a commentary on that because that's kind of what happened in the Black Dahlia murder. Again, as I was going through this, because just like Twan, I thought that there was going to be like a tie to the Black Dahlia murder, and so I was thinking like, oh, like what? How does this tie in?
After the like first after the accident, I was like, this movie has nothing to do with the Black Dahlia. I could already tell.
I thought it was going to be something.
This girl who kind of looks like she could be the Black Dahlia because she's like very beautiful and has like luscious like black hair.
Yeah.
Not murdered in the first 5 minutes of the movie. This is not a Black Dahlia movie.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it could have ended like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it ends with her being murdered.
Hmm.
That'd have been interesting. Or does it?
Or does it?
And then what the fuck is going on with this Winkies? This entire Winkies scene. This is another Lynch thing, dude. Like I
Yeah.
don't under. It reminds me of like the Eraserhead dream when they're making erasers.
Hmm.
Like
Oh
it's like
yeah.
this goes nowhere. Like the guy like he tells his buddy like this fucking weird ass dream that he had. His buddy's like super supportive and like doesn't flinch at this super odd weird dream that his homie just relayed to him. You
Yeah.
know, and then he's just like, "All right, cool, man. Let's go look behind the trash cans. Let's go see if there's that monster there."
I know. I I didn't get this piece at all.
I didn't get it either.
This one kind of like flew over my head. I just I mean even yeah, like I read and it's supposed to be like that monster is supposed to be like the anxiety and like the fear that
That
Betty or
Diane has.
that Diane has. And I mean okay, but I couldn't I don't know. I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah. Actually, like during the movie, it made no sense whatsoever. But doing the after research and kind of like finding out a little bit more about the movie itself and how like it's pretty much a dream the entire time.
Yeah.
And like in dreams, you can't make up faces. Like they're always people that you've seen before. So like taking this scene and kind of like getting more information about it, I guess I understand because it's just another part of her dream. Like, have you ever woken up in the middle of the night, woken up from a dream, and then you're like, what the fuck was that about? Went to go pee or some shit, fell back asleep, and then woke up again and had a totally, completely different dream than the first time. It's like, you don't really know what is real and what is a dream.
Well, I think what Saya said about the anxiety and what you said about how looking back at the time it didn't make sense, but thinking about it in retrospect it does.
Mm-hmm.
I could see it now because the diner is a big place of anxiety for her because of the scene that takes place at the end of the movie and like the significance of the decision she made at the diner, which is the creature that comes to like haunt her and she can't overcome in the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. Yeah, I could see how the two connect now.
Yeah.
But in the moment, I was like, David Lynch ass movie, setting up this mystery with this chick in this diner with these two inconsequential characters who never show up again.
Yeah.
Really, like we see the guy, but we don't like. He never really has like a scene where he has spoken words.
Yeah.
Talking about this weird dream, and then this like he gets scared by a homeless lady.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's it. I was like, what the fuck was that all about?
Yeah.
Very odd.
Having you explain it like that now makes sense. But again, this goes back to like Lynch just being really difficult. Like, well, not, I mean, it's fun because we're talking about it and we're having like a good convo, but it had to take us having this convo in order for it to click in my brain. Like, oh, okay, now that makes sense. And I watched the movie, you know what I mean? And so yeah,
Yeah, it was odd. But then we get introduced to Betty, who's very, as we said earlier, a very like bubbly, all-American, all shucks kind of gal coming to LA to live out her dream, small town, big ideas. Luckily that her aunt fucking has this sweet apartment. Holy shit, that apartment had a chimney in it? What the fuck? I've never heard of that being a thing ever in my life.
Yeah, this is one of those old school apartments that was basically like a home.
This is a little tidbit for the audience. If you guys watch the Hulu show Only Murderers in the Building, the season 4 episode 1 episode about Saz Pataki, she's one of like the main characters in the movie. Her apartment building is the exact same apartment from Lynch, and the character who plays Saz is Jane Lynch, who is
hilarious.
Which is the director's cousin.
Cool.
You know Jane Lynch, right? The tall, skinny, blonde chick from
Party Down.
Yeah.
She was the like coordinator of what was that movie?
What was the movie that put her on the map? Wasn't she also in Lee.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
That's his cousin. But like her apartment, I like stopped the movie and I'm like, is that Saz Pataki's apartment? And I like Googled it real quick. They're like, it's the same apartment complex, but they used a different apartment number for her apartment.
Uh-huh.
And they're like, that apartment, I guess, is like an old Hollywood. It's been used before. It's like a fucking nice apartment, dude. That courtyard, foyer, whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
Very nice.
That's really cool. I had no idea that they were related.
Neither did I.
Yeah, that's dope.
And then we get our introduction to Rita and Betty, which I feel like maybe it's like the small town sensibilities that I get from Betty, that she's so like chill being about this random
Hello,
woman.
stranger in my house.
My partner brought up a very good point. She's like, it's because Rita is incredibly attractive, and if she was like an ugly person, she probably would have had a different reaction.
Yeah,
But you have like this.
and then Betty's also really down for like Rita from like the very beginning.
I mean, she's super hot.
We see later on like what happens between them, but yeah, I definitely think it was that.
But
And it took me getting to that scene though that I was like, oh, like she's always kind of been attracted to Rita. So I would have just started freaking out, dude. Like, why are you in this house?
I mean, I'd freak out, but like the way they meet is this very attractive woman is taking a shower, and she like opens it, and she's just like this naked hot chick in a shower. And well, spoiler alert, Betty's a lesbian. So like she's just like, oh shit, okay. And then like, I mean, I don't know. I feel like most people in that situation would be like, oh, I'm not gonna call the cops. See what's going on with this.
Yeah.
See where this goes.
Yeah, see what's happening. Because she's very, very chill about it.
All right. Imagine coming home and there's a hot girl in your shower.
Like, what are you gonna do? It's like,
Oh.
I would just start screaming. Just like running around in a circle, but also not calling the cops, but still screaming. Mhm.
Just at the rager, just fucking all over the place.
And then once it's done, let's see where this is gonna go.
Yeah, I do feel like Laura Herring and Naomi Watts have like really good chemistry in this film, like pretty right off the bat.
Yeah.
And like
I felt that lesbian love.
I didn't
you don't think so?
feel it. I didn't feel it so later because I think Laura Herring's character is like really confused,
Uh-huh.
and so in the beginning she's
That's
just
true.
she's like weird.
Like an odd duck.
And it isn't until later on, I think, when they go to the diner. Oh no, it's not until I just thought the relationship was really weird up until when they see the body of the body in the apartment, and then they go back.
They kind of reconnect. They kind of connect.
And then Betty's like, "I love you," and then they start like making out. I think they have sex in that scene. It's just not like shown.
Yeah, they have sex.
But that I didn't realize that was their connection until that point in time. I just thought that Betty was so like
Friendly
and like warm and welcoming. She was just like, I want to help you. Like, what's going on? I have so many hopes and dreams, and let me share them with you. But then
it's funny that you bring that up, because I asked my wife the same thing. I'm like, she just gets in the bed naked. I'm like, is that a girl thing? Like, is that something like you guys will just like, if we have a sleepover, you'll just like sleep naked together? Like, is that a thing? Like, I know, like for dudes, it's not like if your homie jumps into your bed naked, and you're like, what the fuck are you doing, dude?
Hey, bro, don't knock it till you try it, all right?
yeah, I'd sleep naked with you, bro. What's up?
I don't want that. No, thank you. But Betty was so chill about it, and then she's all like, then they look deeply into their eyes. I'm like, oh, they're gonna fuck. Okay, they're falling for each other.
Yeah.
Got it. So it felt like really strong platonic homies, because women are like pretty gay with their best friends. So like I was like, okay, maybe they're just like really cool, bordering lesbian shit. But it's like, oh no, they're actually. Like,
I don't think it's. I think it's not gay. They're just intimate. They share a really deep level. Women share a deeper level of intimacy than men.
Sounds pretty gay to me, bro.
Bro, it's not gay until you come.
Not gay to be intimate.
I mean, Tomato, I guess. And then we get their relationship is pretty odd, but is this where Betty is like immediately down to like to help Rita figure out like what happened to her?
Yeah. She's just instantly down.
Yeah.
Because Rita's like, I don't know who. Oh, because no, she takes a nap, right? And then
and she's
meeting
fucking
happens.
concussed. And Betty's like, you probably shouldn't do that. Like, just for a few minutes.
I just need to fucking sleep. And then she just fucking concussed, passes out.
That's right. And then she talks to her aunt and she's like, Aunt, that was a nice surprise with your friend Rita being here. What a nice fucking homecoming gift.
Yeah.
And her aunt's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I don't know no bitch named Rita. You need to call the cops.
Get out of the house. Call the fucking cops.
But she's really hot. No. You don't understand.
No, it's okay. I want to figure out what's going on here. And then she even like, she's like, so who are you? And then the history really begins.
But that's after, right? Because there's a pause and then it hops over to, I do love the way that Lynch, like I wrote it down when it transitions after her phone call and we get that like not night skylight, like overview shot of like downtown LA. And the music's like super intimidating. And it's when Adam's meeting with I guess like the producers of his upcoming film, and they're basically strong arming him into casting a new girl.
I feel like that's the song. That music sounds like the exact same music from Twin Peaks, like the first episode of Twin Peaks.
Oh, interesting.
It sounds like the exact same. Like it's like really like dark and deep. Yeah. But I completely forgot about that scene. I
really like this scene because it was like, to me, it was like, I was like, oh, this is like, I was like, this is a more refined Lynch. It's a pinky up Lynch. Because like, it's just weird enough to make you uncomfortable. Yeah. But the Adam character plays the role of the audience because the entire time he's like, what the fuck is going on right now? Like, what is happening? Like, why is everybody being so fucking weird?
He's really weird. And he's witnessing this dude fucking spit out coffee onto a napkin instead of back into a cup or another cup like a normal human.
Like, what a power move. Like, the mafiosos never even acknowledge anybody in the room, and the only time they talk is to tell them what to do, and then he just keeps arguing, and they just keep saying, this is the girl. Yeah. Like, this is the girl. Yeah. It's like, what the fuck? He's like, I got the 6 top actresses fighting for this role. And they're like, yeah, no, this is the girl.
I wonder if Lynch ever experienced any of that, and he was like writing this out of experience.
Yeah. I read online that go ahead.
No, you go.
I was going to say that a lot of the film is because Lynch is like, oh, I love that everyone has their own interpretation of it. So he never actually said like what the movie was about per se, but other people have commented, and I think Naomi Watts commented too, that a lot of this film kind of shows like the kind of ugly side of Hollywood. Both for an actor and then with Adam's character, like as a director, and like kind of like the Betty side shows like the glitz and glam and like the hopes of aspirations of like Hollywood, and the Diane side shows like, well, this is what happens when things don't go good when you try to become like an actor in Hollywood. So I wonder if like the Adam being strong armed was like his version of like as a director. Sometimes you got to deal with some fucking bullshit when people are trying to tell you how to like run your movie.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I also think like back in the early days of like Hollywood and LA, I think that the mafia did
big time.
I mean, they had their hands in like a whole ton of shit. And then I think even later, like I forgot what movie it is, but there's like specific movies that are like mafia movies, and they had actual like mafiosos there as like a what do you call them? The people that make sure it's like real. Like the military does it for like if military is going to be represented in a movie, they send out a specific person to make sure that anything that's in the movie that has like the military in it, it's like represented in like a real way, and like it's like like a whole thing. So like a consultant, I guess. In
There
some
you
type of
go.
way.
Yeah.
I heard Bugsy Siegel's consulted on a few mafia films back in the day.
In some type of way that probably is like real, that the mafia for sure like said who was going to be in a movie and who wasn't going to be in a movie.
I mean, I just love the way that they do it. It's like they're
Yeah.
very intimidating without being so like the two. I don't know who the fuck the two people were like kissing their ass. I'm guessing like they're
The
Maybe
producers, or whatever.
the
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
producers. Well, because like the mafia guys either I think what they probably run the production company, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or like the Miramax, is that like the production company?
Yeah.
Like he probably owned one of those. And then the producers like kind of like the guys like this is the best espresso in the world, and he just spits it out.
Yeah.
I love that. I love this scene. This is one of my favorite scenes in the movie, just because it's just weird enough where I'm
Weird.
like not super confused as to what's happening.
Yeah.
And then I do like Thoreau's acting. I think he does a good job of being like a very confused, like what the fuck is happening
That's
guy
kind
in
of how
this.
he is through like the whole fucking thing. It's so
Yeah, that's true. He's just
Yeah.
kind of go with the flow, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
Also, he just showed up with a golf club.
Yeah.
Like he just walks around casually with like he walked out of his house, picked the golf club out, and went to this whole thing. That's
Maybe
kinda,
he's like a break shit kind of director.
oh damn,
Like-
maybe.
Like that's how he like imposes. Kind of reminds me of like This Is Spinal Tap, where the guy has the cricket paddle.
Yeah.
It's like to get people in line.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny though, and after the meeting where he just like fucks up their limo.
Yeah.
Apparently, that is a reference to something Jack Nicholson did. He did the exact same thing.
Oh yeah.
After
Damn.
a
Way to go,
meeting.
Jack. That's cool.
That's cool. And then this is where we get introduced to Mr. Rogue. We see them like beforehand because like isn't he the one that put out the hit on Rita in the beginning? Because he gets a phone call like the girl's like about the girl, and
Oh, yeah.
like it's all silent, and then he just hangs up, and
Yeah.
then they call another guy. Which is cool because I was like, oh, why are they trying to fucking kill this chick? Like, oh, we didn't mention like she has all this money, but none of this shit matters. Like none of it ends up meaning anything. She has
Going
like
anywhere.
$125,000 in cash just in her purse
Yeah.
and a weird blue key,
Yeah.
but like none of it equates to anything at all. But I do like the mystery of. I was like, was Rita supposed to be the main girl, and then they kill her off in order to get this other chick to be the who is it? Camilla Rhodes, to get Camilla Rhodes to be the star of the new movie that Adam's directing. This is all the things I was like trying to connect into my head to make sense of this movie, and like none of it equates to anything.
Yeah. I think that's like the point of this movie is to get the audience to think and interpret whatever the fuck's going on screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's right in front of you is not what's happening in this movie.
Yeah.
It's like a big undertones. You got to read in between the lines a lot in this film. But I did like the mafioso guys. I thought they did a good job of being what's it called? Fucking intimidating with saying nothing.
Yeah. No, that they did good. And that one dude, he's a pretty famous like mafioso guy, isn't he? Not the guy that spit out the coffee, but the
Yeah,
other
he's
dude-
always
the
he's
other
always
dude.
playing a mafia guy. Yeah.
He was the dad in Night at the Roxbury, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, he wasn't that
Yeah.
the Rockstar. That's right. Yeah, he's always playing those characters.
He does a good job. He just has that face and it's fucking typecasted.
He has that scowl, huh?
Yeah.
Like his face is scrunches when he's displeased. And then what was up with the like it transitions to
What was up with everybody, man?
was this guy like a journalist? And the rocker looking dude with like the leather jacket and the jeans who just like murders that guy for that black book.
Oh, fuck! I completely forgot about that shit.
And then they shoot the secretary, gets shot in the ass, and then like he murders her and then kills the janitor. Like that whole sequence was fucking
Yeah.
random.
he fumbles that whole fucking
Assassination.
that
attempt.
whole
attempt.
assassination attempt. Like he tries to make it look like a suicide, but then he accidentally shoots the secretary because he shot through the wall, And then he brings the secretary over, and she's fucking kicking and screaming. And then the janitor sees,
Dude,
and
she's
he's
fucking him up for a little while.
yeah,
She's a big woman.
She's built
yeah.
like a linebacker.
And then the janitor sees, and he's like, "I need help, man! Like, come over here." And the janitor's like, "Oh, this is fucking sus." And he walks over, and then he has to kill like 3 people. Yeah, I thought all of this was connected to what's her face character in the beginning.
Yeah?
Like, yeah, I thought it was all connected to like that first mystery.
I thought so too. I was like, oh, what's in that black book?
Yeah, but I still don't know. Also, we could tie this back to the Black Dahlia murder because at some point in time, the police receive a black book, and it has like a list of like different names and shit like that. So
That's true, huh? I wonder if this was like a reference.
man, I kept on trying to tie this back to Black Dahlia murder throughout the whole fucking movie. I was like, she's gonna be in this movie. Someone's gonna die like that. But yeah.
Just pacing around your house.
Yeah, it's just fucking, it's just like sweating, like fucking. When is it gonna happen? What this ties in? I felt like fucking, like what's his face and Always Sunny when he's trying to connect
Charlie.
it to Pepe Silva. That was what I was doing. The wall this whole movie was going on.
That's so funny. I did love this scene though. It was just funny.
Just chaos.
It was comedic. It is comedic chaos.
Mm-hmm. It was still weird.
A series of unfortunate events.
It has nothing to do with anything, but it was great.
Yeah.
Like this, why does the alarm goes off because of that fucking the vacuum cleaner explodes?
Because he shoots the vacuum cleaner.
The world's worst hitman.
This scene is so bad.
Fucking ruckus for no reason.
He was really good at like adjusting, and then like, oh, he's like, fuck.
Yeah. Was he good at adjusting? I feel like.
I mean, he left with no witnesses.
I mean, I guess, but like that was a lot.
That was pretty bad. Oh, this is where you find out that Rita has the stacks of cash is after this scene when they start to try and unravel the mystery.
Did we talk about the director Adam and how after he smashes in that car he goes home and then his wife is fucking Billy Ray Cyrus?
So that happens right after this.
Oh, okay. Fucking Billy Ray Cyrus is in this movie too?
Yeah, no, that was fucking random.
Yeah.
He's
Literally
playing
right after
himself.
this, he goes into this is where that happens.
Yeah.
Because he finds out his secretary calls him and is like, hey, they shut down the film. And then she's like, you need to come down to the office. He's like, nah, I'm going to go home.
Yeah.
And he just goes home. And yeah, Billy Ray Cyrus is banging his wife.
Yeah.
And she gets mad at him for coming home.
Dude,
How dare
tries to
you
flip
come
the
home?
script.
Well, Billy Ray Cyrus is fucking me. Don't ever come home when Billy Ray Cyrus is here.
And even he was like, just pretend like he didn't see this, man. It's better for everybody.
Like, what the fuck?
I was like, damn.
What is going on? And then he just takes her jewelry and like dumps a bunch of paint on it.
Yeah, would that do anything?
It would
I don't
dirty her
know.
jewelry. I mean, I guess depending on the paint.
I guess. Does paint eat through gold and diamonds? It's really hard to fuck up a diamond. Like, incredibly hard. They use diamond tip shit to like carve things and like put them in drills.
Would
Yeah.
it stain the diamonds?
I'm pretty sure there's some form of solution you could put it in that would get rid of the paint.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seemed like I'm like, dude, it would have been better if you just took them and left. Just
Yeah.
like got in your
Maybe
car
you
and
just-
left.
You
Yeah.
just didn't know what to do.
Yeah. I think he
It
was,
was just
he
one of
was
those
scrambling.
like, yeah.
And then he gets his ass kicked.
He does. He does. But Billy Ray fucking Cyrus.
Hey, Billy Ray Cyrus is kind of yoked.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck.
It is odd to me though that like every character comes back again except for Billy Ray Cyrus. We don't know where she got him from.
He does you're saying in the after.
After. Like we see all the other characters occurring that she plays throughout her dream, but we don't see Billy Ray.
Maybe in her subconscious she just really wanted to see Billy Ray Cyrus.
Maybe.
Yeah. Like she saw him on TV and she was like, I got to put this guy in here.
That's Hollywood.
Yep.
It's Hollywood.
That's Hollywood, baby.
I do like so this is another weird part of this film. So like I feel like it gets intercut with like odd behavior because this next scene where fucking Adam goes into hiding and then they try to figure out what's going on with Rita and why she lost her memory feels like a continuation of like 2 scenes ago. Like these feel connected, but like then there's other parts that feel disconnected that kind of break up within the story. And then Betty's just a beast, dude. She just calls the cops and it's like, hey, was there a fucking accident? They're like, yeah. She's like, all right, cool.
Thanks for the information.
Thanks for the info, coppa.
I
Can
feel
you
like
do that? Can you call
Yeah.
the cops and just get information like that?
you can if you're depending on how you play it. Yeah.
Because she did come off like a concerned citizen. She's like, oh my God, I heard a loud bang last night. Is everything okay?
Yeah.
I'm a blonde white woman. What would you think of Cookie, the like Mexican fool who runs that like dilapidated like I don't know fucking hotel that Adam's staying at?
Yeah. Dude, he was Cookie.
That whole conversation was so random, but I thought it was cool because he's like, "Hey Holmes, your cards don't work," and he's like, "I pay you cash, Cookie." He's like, "That's cool, SA, but your cards don't work."
Yeah.
And I was like, "What?" He's like, "I'm just letting you know." Whoever you're trying to hide from knows where
Knows
you
you're
are.
here. Yeah. No, I think he said, I'm just here to let you know
Yeah.
that whoever you're hiding from knows where you are. And I was like, damn.
He's like
Thanks,
giving him the
Cookie.
heads up. Like, hey,
Yeah.
dog, like you ain't safe here, dude. You need to like that's cool. Like, I know you're good for the money, but I'm just letting you know, like, you're gonna get caught up. You need to leave.
Yeah.
And then this is where we meet the cowboy.
Yeah. The cowboy. That was such a random character.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Fuck, and he was like, I thought it was gonna be. I didn't think he was gonna actually look like a cowboy. I thought he was.
I mean,
gonna
they
be,
go to a ranch.
I know, but I thought he was gonna be more of like a dude who maybe like mildly looked like a cowboy. Like this fool straight up looked like a cowboy. Like he was just in full cowboy attire, meeting at a ranch.
Yeah, but this was random as fuck.
The cowboy was really cool though, because he was like, if you do good, you'll see me once. You'll see me twice if you don't do good. And he just walks away. Like, damn. I don't want a cowboy to tell me that. That's mildly terrifying.
That was a mad threat. That was cool.
Yeah.
He plays it so cool, calm and collected. But what
Yeah.
is he? This is another David Lynch thing, man. What was he telling me is like a man's attitude determines how his life will be. And then the guy's like, yeah, I agree with that. He's like, do you agree with that? Or are you just saying what do you think I want to hear? And he's
Yeah.
like, no, I agree with that. He's like, well, what did I say then? He just like repeats what he said. He's like, all right, well, you think on that. And he's like, okay. And he's like, think on it. Don't be, what did he say? Don't be a smart ass or don't be
Smart Alec.
a smart aleck.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't think Adam was being a smart aleck. I think he was just incredibly confused as to what the actual fuck was going on.
Going on. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Adam didn't know what the hell was happening at any point in time. But I think after this, he realizes where he's at and like what is actually gonna happen to him. But I think it took him meeting the fucking cowboy in the middle of the night at a ranch for him to get it.
Yeah. Because this is kind of what convinces him, right?
Yeah.
Because he's already had 3 people threaten him already.
Yeah.
But this one was way more of a direct threat.
Yeah.
So for me, this is when from the meeting, this is where the movie started. I was just like, oh, okay, this movie's pretty cool.
Hmm.
I was trying to like understand, and like the movie was having less weird shit happen. There was like more of a through progression of the story,
Mhm.
and like things are trying to kind of starting to like tie together a little bit. I was like, okay, this is where the movie's getting good.
Yeah.
Oh, this is where I think we see the blooming relationship too with Rita and Betty when Betty's rehearsing her lines for that audition that her aunt got her, little nepo baby.
Oh yeah, because then they they're like laughing and giggling while they're doing like the run through.
Yeah,
Yeah, but even then, like this wasn't one. I didn't think that they were gonna like.
I thought it was platonic
First-
friendship.
Yeah,
for sure.
I thought they were just like homies. Like, you know, you spend like a couple days with someone, it's like, oh, like we're kind of cool now. So I thought it was more like that. It wasn't until because I think she goes to the rehearsal And then there's a
another
whole,
handsy guy. Did you see that?
yeah, that whole rehearsal scene was pretty nuts.
Yeah.
That shit got me revved up. I was seduced.
Fully torqued.
I was like, whoa, Betty. I was like, damn, I didn't know she had this in it. She just flipped the switch.
Yeah. And this is where we get the intersection between Betty and Adam. Yeah. Because they think he sees her. They make eye contact.
Yeah, because she does so good that like that casting director there who's like one of the best. And then she sees her and she's like, holy shit, you're good, girl. Like, I'm gonna get you on a fucking real movie.
Yeah.
Like, fuck this bullshit movie. You're coming with me.
Does she say like this movie's never even gonna like take off? Like no one gave this guy this movie.
Well, she said the director was over the hill 20 years ago. And she's like, what? Because she was like really thrown back. She's like, I thought they were really nice. She's like, no, he is nice. I love him. I was married to him for 10 years. But like, we're really catty, and I'm just letting you know, like, this isn't the opportunity for you. I'm gonna take you to a real opportunity.
Yeah. And
then this is where I also thought to point what you were saying about them not being gay, because the way Betty looks at Adam gives you like love at first sight vibes.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, she's in love with Adam. She's gonna hook up with Adam. Yeah, that's gonna be like, is she gonna get the role over this Camilla Rhodes chick, and it's gonna lead to like a whole thing? Yeah, but it doesn't. That doesn't happen. No, he doesn't even get to audition. Yeah, I know. Adam like buckles down. He's like, after Camilla Rhodes, he's like, this is the girl.
This is the girl. Yeah.
And then this bitch just straight up was like, I gotta go. I promised someone something. I'm like, dude, you just got like a major opportunity to be in like a feature film. Yeah. And you just leave? Like she even told, I'm like, but I wrote down like she told Rita, hopefully I'm back in a few hours. I don't know how long this is gonna take. Yeah. So like she wasn't expecting you back at like a normal ass time. You could have just auditioned for this, and then like even if you didn't get the main role, she could have done good enough to be like, oh shit, we're gonna cast you as this person.
Yeah, she definitely could have kicked it for longer.
Yeah, so that definitely confused the fuck out of me. I was like, talk about fucking spitting in the face of that casting director. What a fucking opportunity you spoiled.
Yeah.
Is this where they get and oh no, this is where they drive by we didn't mention it, but Denise Selwyn's, they figure out who she was. Rita remembers Denise Selwyn, but we don't know why. Diane Selwyn. We don't know why though. I forget.
When they go to the diner.
And they see the girl's name tag.
And they see the girl's name tag, and it says Diane, and then it brings up Diane Selwyn's name.
That's right. And this is where they find the dead body, huh? Yeah. That was wild. Mm-hmm. Especially because the dead body looked like Rita's. Mm-hmm. This is where I was like, oh shit, they fucking killed Diane. What the fuck? Yeah. Like, what did she know? Was she in the black book?
Yeah, this whole piece was really weird. And then right after that, Betty and Rita
hook up. Well, they put Rita in a wig for some reason. I even wrote down, I'm like, this is the fakest wig I've ever seen in my life. And then they mentioned like, oh, it's a wig. And I'm like, oh, okay. Because it looks very much like a wig. Yeah. Then I don't understand. I forget what they do when she's all wigged up.
Oh, wigged up. All wigged up. Hell yeah.
You just take a stroll around town.
You do what everyone does when you're all wigged up.
Just fucking walk around disguised.
Paint the town red.
Try and take over the world.
Then this is where they go, and then this is their hookup.
Yeah. And then immediately after, Rita starts like freaking out at nighttime.
She wakes up
speaking Spanish.
Oh, she starts saying silencio, and then like what?
No hay banda. No hay
banda. Yeah.
Mm. And then they go to the club Silencio. Yo, there's this
make it come so hard she starts speaking a different language.
There's this that's how you know it really worked. There's this mezcal named Silencio, and it made me think of the mezcal when every time they said Silencio.
Fuck yeah.
It made me think of Nacho Libre because one of the wrestlers' names was Silencio.
Oh yeah.
In the beginning, one of the beginning guys?
When they have like that wrestling competition and it's introducing all of the wrestlers
Yeah.
and their like special moves.
Yeah.
The dude in all blacks, his name was Silencio.
Hell yeah.
I thought up until this point, I kept commenting how strikingly different they made it to look. They made Rita look towards Betty.
Mhm.
Like Rita's always very like dolled up, and Rita's always dressed. I mean, Rita's very dolled up, and Betty's always dressed like very plain Jane.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder. There must have been an intention for doing that. I wonder if it's to signify like the in the real world the differences between the two of them and how Rita's character is very much a movie star
Yeah.
and Diane is just like or Betty's just like a plain Jane like extra type actress.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like to show their maybe their class difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was what I thought. I thought because Betty, or I mean, when she switches over, she's not Betty anymore. But in this version, Betty's like still trying to get into it, but Rita's already like been established for some time.
Yeah.
You
Like
know?
the way she carries herself, the confidence she like walks around with, even when she forgets who she is, I feel like is a stark difference to
Yeah, like when she's
Betty.
chilling in the house, she's in like a silk bathrobe.
Yeah,
all
she
the
just
time.
always looks bad.
Yeah.
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 It's like crazy. It's like everything she wears is like, oh, she looks hot.
Mhm. Let me
I
put
feel-
on something more comfortable, and it's like the most like sexiest fucking bathrobe you've ever seen.
The sex scene was very hot. I love that scene. Good
Mhm.
scene.
Yeah,
Great scene.
great scene.
Kind of a bummer waking up to some chick like speaking Spanish and like being all
Silencio.
tripped out.
Silencio.
I did not understand.
Yeah.
And then this is what I'm talking about. And then like this is a David Lynch ass scene when they go to the theater.
Yep.
Yeah,
What the
For
fuck
sure.
is going on in this?
For sure, for
this
sure.
scene, dude.
This reminded me of Eraserhead when he's watching that girl sing on the stage.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It reminded me of that, like that same
Oh, yeah.
like weird theater experience. Like, what the fuck is happening right now? Except
Just-
there were other people in there too. Like when
It was like a performative art thing, I guess.
Yeah.
and they like zoom out and they show it's not just Betty and Rita, but there's like other couples like,
people?
spread throughout the theater. I thought that was cool because then it wasn't just them experiencing that. It was an overall weird like experience.
I mean, I thought it was cool that the like, what is he? The host?
Yeah.
I was like, no, banda. And he was speaking like, think what, French, Spanish, and just like different iterations
English.
of saying that like English, that he's like, everything you're seeing here is pre-recorded. There is no live music.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, why is he like, is that supposed to be cool? Like, that's not hard to do. Like everyone's just like lip syncing. But
Yeah.
when the chick comes out, what was her name? Rebecca Del Rio or whatever.
Yeah.
When she comes out to perform and then she collapses and the music keeps going, I'm like, oh, that was actually kind of cool. Like, I thought
Yeah.
she was singing this whole time.
Yeah, that was really dope.
Apparently, that Rebecca Del Rio recorded that song like years ago for something else Lynch did. And then he's just like, I'm going to use it in this movie.
Nice.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of makes sense now thinking back to it about how that song is kind of connected to the overall theme of the film
Mhm.
because of kind of the heartbreak that we'll see Diane is kind of going through in the last like I didn't check. How long is the Diane sequence? Maybe
30
like
minutes.
30 minutes?
30 minutes.
So
It's
the
fast.
last 30 minutes of the film is just like
The reality of
the
world.
reality of what's going on. Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
that because is it after this scene
Literally.
that
Oh,
Diane
fuck.
wakes up?
Yeah, Betty and Rita find that blue box in
Oh, she opens.
Oh,
Betty's
yeah.
purse, and then they go home, and then Rita's like looking. She goes to that bag that we talked about in the very beginning that has all that money,
Oh yeah, because we found the key in it.
a
Yeah, it's
random
like,
key, and then she's trying to like call out for Betty, but Betty just like disappears. Or
oh, that's
no,
right.
Betty disappears, right? And then Rita's the one who opens the box. And then once she opens the box, the dream ends and then we're slapped in the face with the darkness and dullness of life.
And then Naomi Watts looks. Betty's character looks all disheveled, dude.
She
Yeah.
does. Yeah.
She looks like she's been on a fucking bender.
The change too, like her posture as Betty to going to Diane
It's completely
is
different.
completely
Yeah.
different. It was really cool to see Naomi Watts have that like range of like, okay, you're like this like light doe-eyed girl. Now you're this like woman who's been living here for some time, whose dreams have like failed, and now you're struggling in life.
My wife pointed it out how did you notice how Betty looks like the like little I think she's like a drug addict working girl that the hitman guy goes up to her and he's like, "Hey, have you seen any?" Because he was looking for Rita. He's like, "Have you seen any new girls on the streets? Any brunettes?"
Yeah.
And then he's like, "You want food? I'll get you some food." She's like, "Nah, I just want like a cigarette."
Yeah.
That Diane, is it Diane?
It's now Diane.
Yeah, Diane's character looks almost exactly like that chick.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Damn, that's a good catch.
I didn't catch it. She pointed it out. I was like, "Oh yeah, she does look like her." Like they're wearing the same. Like white top, the same jeans. Their hair color is very similar. I feel like when she's Diane, it's like a darker blonde instead of like a bright blonde.
Yeah.
Is it a dirty blonde that they call it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's more like it looks greasier. It doesn't look as like flowy as it's like a complete change of her character. I feel was really cool.
Yeah.
Like just by looking at her and like you said there with her mannerisms, you could tell like, oh, this is a person that's been through some shit.
Yeah.
And then there's another blue key on the table, but what is that key about? Oh, never mind. We find out later what the key means.
Yes.
Oh, this is where the detectives come back. Because her roommate goes and she's like, "Hey, dude, I need to grab some of my shit." And she's also, those detectives are looking for you again. She's like, "Grab your stuff, whatever."
Yeah.
And then we start seeing little clues. Did you notice that the mug, her coffee mug, is the same mug that they use in the Winky's diner?
No.
No. Damn.
Nice. That's
So
cool.
I'm like, did she work there or did she steal it?
Yeah. I like that was consistent though between Betty's story and Diane's story, was that the neighbor and her switched apartments, and then the neighbor did say to Betty and Rita in the Betty version that she needed to go into that apartment because some of her shit was still in there.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. So that kept it kind of grounded for me. So then I had a point of reference. I was like, okay, so this is the real story, and like that they did actually switch apartments and there is shit in that apartment. So there's still like there was a general outline of a story that happened, which I thought was nice. And it that helped me like pinpoint from there.
And then I like someone pointed this out, and I was trying to think of like the difference between the two, but I read somebody's else interpretation. I think it kind of makes sense with we see Rita's character again, but she's Camilla Rhodes.
Yeah.
And she's laying naked on Betty's couch.
Mm-hmm.
And Camilla's like, "Oh, well, we have to stop doing this. Like, we can't do this anymore." And Diane's character is like, "No, don't you ever tell me that. Like, don't you ever say that." Like, she's freaking out. Like, she's obviously in love with this chick.
Mm-hmm.
But this chick's kind of like, well, like, you know, this has ran its course for me at least. Like, I'm not doing this anymore, which is kind of fucked up. Like, what was she doing laying naked on her couch anyways? Like, I feel like Camilla's character is kind of a bitch. She kind of like toys with Diane a lot, which is pretty fucked up. But someone pointed out how the dream state, Rita's kind of attached to the hip of Betty and needs Betty, and Betty has like a kind of control over Rita's character.
Yeah.
Where in the reality, it's Diane who can't get away from Camilla, and Camilla has this like emotional control over her that she can't seem to break through. So in her dream, the roles are reversed.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh yeah, that is kind of true. Because I kept writing down, I'm like, dude, why is Camilla like making it a point to like just rub it in the face of her ex-girlfriend that like they're not together anymore?
Yeah.
Like we find out that she's the one hooking up with Adam.
Yep.
And they have like that romantic makeout scene in the car where he's showing the actor how to do it. Mm-hmm. And she's like requests that Diane stays and sees that, and is even eyeballing her while they're like making out. And it's just like, why was that necessary?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty ruthless.
She also invites her to dinner.
And then like not only invites her,
Yeah.
But the way she does it, like she stops her, comes down the hill, grabs her, and like takes her up this like cute night pass up into the party. Like it's a real like intimate thing.
Yeah.
Kind of gay, if you ask me. And like all
Bring
for
it back.
what? All for what? And even when she calls her, she's like, "I'm really happy you're going. Like this is so important to me. Like I really need you to be there."
Yeah.
Just to stare her down and be like, "Yeah, I'm engaged to this guy." And then she gets
Yup.
her other side bitch. Just to be like, yeah, and I was like, it's not that I don't like girls anymore. I just don't like fucking with you anymore.
Yeah.
See that chick? I'm hitting that. They got like a threes company going on. Good for Adam. They just kind of like rushed through the last like 20 minutes, but like it just like it was like over and over and over again. I was just like, dude, like that's like a really like it's a pretty like emotionally manipulative and fucked up thing to do somebody that you used to care about. Like, why does she continue to string her along only to like hurt her? That's kind of fucked.
Yeah.
It does though explain the actions that Diane finally takes at the very end.
Yeah.
So I yeah, but I don't like Camila was just really mean, like for no real reason.
I wonder if it's like like supposed to be like symbolism of the way Hollywood can use you and discard you, but
yeah,
you're still holding on to the dream of making it, so you continue to stay in this like abusive relationship with the industry. And Camila is the glitz and fame that Diane's always wanted. And even when she has that conversation with Coco, who turns out to be Adam's mom, and she's like, "Oh, I see. You only get roles because you're Camilla's friend."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh yeah, we both auditioned for that first audition that we see Betty do." And she's like, and Camilla was like so amazing in it. Like I really wanted that part, but we became friends. And she got me roles on like a lot of films she's been on. And then the mom's like, "Oh, I see what this is." Like, okay, you're just like there without her, you're nothing, kind of.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I wonder if it's that just to signify like, yeah, she's just being used and abused, but she can't escape.
That's how I ended up seeing it in the very end, like after everything. And I feel like the switch from Betty's story to Diane's story is, I think to me, that's how it made sense more, because in Betty's story, Betty is basically Diane, and so like she's or sorry, not Diane, she's basically Camila, and she's like getting all these different roles and like doing all this like really amazing stuff, and she's just succeeding at the dream that she wanted. But then once it switches to the reality, she was dreaming that she was Camila the whole time and like getting everything that she wanted and everything that she like needed. And so that's how it made sense at the end for me.
The more we talk about this, the more my score is going up. I like the movie more.
It's
funny
because I feel like
opposite effect.
Like Lynch, I think just from based on his movies that we've seen, Lynch's movies, like you got to talk about them. Otherwise, you're just like,
I mean, I immediately wanted to start texting you guys and be like, "What the fuck was this all about?"
Yeah.
Well, let's wrap up the story.
Wrap it up.
So we do see the hitman again, and we do see the symbolism of the blue key, and we find out that it's Diane who hired the hitman. And even he's like, "Are you sure you want to do this? Because like once you give me the money and once I leave, there is no going back from this."
Yeah.
And she's like,
he does it at the Winkies at the diner.
yeah, it's at the Winkies at the diner. I'm guessing the dude who has the like anxiety attack dream, we see him again. He must be like a frequent visitor of the Winkies. And he tells her, "All right, I'm going to leave my calling card and you'll know it's done." And he shows her the blue key. He's like, "When you see this, you'll know it was taken care of." And then when Diane woke up from her dream originally, we already see the blue key was on the table, right?
Yeah.
So we already know this is post her already Rita being assassinated. Like she's dead now.
Yeah.
And she's just like, she can't live with the guilt.
Or Camila
Rita has been assassinated. She can't live with the guilt. And then she just because David Lynch is like, "I can't wrap this up neatly. I need to remind you who the fuck I am." She just trips out and starts singing like the little old people. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck was that all about?
Yeah.
And they like haunt her, and they have that creepy smile to the point where she grabs a gun and just like kills herself. But
Mhm.
that whole scene was like so unhinged and like uncomfortable. That gave me the same feelings of like Eraserhead. I was like,
Yeah.
why? What is this supposed to signify? Who are these old people? Why are they tiny?
Yeah.
And then like, why are they like the things that ultimately like haunt her and she like kills herself in the end?
I couldn't figure that piece out. Yeah. That one was
It's like weird to be weird.
that one was unknown to me. It did remind me of the people in the going back to Eraserhead, the people in the radiator when he looks in the radiator, and it's the woman
It's
who's
the
singing.
woman,
Yeah.
on the stage.
Yeah, it reminded me of that, like really small people. But in this movie, the small people were haunting the shit out of her.
Yeah, it's so surreal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think it doesn't end there. It goes over to the club, and the blue-haired woman at the club, the last thing she says is silencio.
This is a lot. This is a lot of movie to unpack.
Definitely.
I think on the wiki there was something like one person was quoted, and it's something like the film itself is a mystery that's held together by the spectator detective desire to make sense out of it, and like we're the spectator detectives and
Trying
like
to figure it out.
yeah, I feel like this movie is like made to have a conversation around to try to figure out what the fuck was happening. I mean, we know that there's like a general story, so like it's like a love story that ends with like a crime of passion,
Mm-hmm.
but there's so much other shit that's going on, like subconscious, like conversations, subconscious things that happen that lead to like conversations. And I definitely I like it because of that.
For sure. It's yeah, talking about it was and working through it was definitely helped me understand it more, I think.
Yeah.
Because I think after I watched it originally, because I did end it kind of late. I was like, I didn't have too much time to process it. I was just kind of like, what the fuck was that all about? But this is regarded as like one of his best films, if not his best film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. It's what is it called? Magnum opus.
Yeah, it's his magnum opus, which is interesting because it's a film that was like not adapted. What am I trying to say?
What are you trying to say?
Like it's a movie that kind of happened by accident because it was supposed to be a TV series, and then he took something he already made and like made it into full length feature film. And I feel like if you hear that going in, you're like, oh, this is gonna be trash.
Yeah.
But it actually ended up being his most well regarded film. I mean, it had a budget of 15 million, and the original 8 million was spent making the TV pilot version of it, and then he used an additional 7 million to convert it into like a feature length film.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting because when they get it shown in theaters, you have to give like specific instructions to the theaters because it was originally shot for TV, and I guess things shot for TV aren't shot the same way as a film is. So if you showed it like just straight up the way you're supposed to, you just show a regular movie on a projector, would have cut off the heads of all the actors, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. I'm just thinking right now, like I'm thinking out loud. So in the Betty version, when she sees the old people after the plane, they're like, oh, you know, I hope you succeed. Like I hope you do really well. Like they're really like positive and they're smiley. And then she sees them later on at the end. What if that was her like brain, like saying like this is how you should have been, like these people were proud of you, like maybe those are like representation of her parents back at home.
Well, maybe.
And she like sees them like the ghosts of her parents basically saying that like they were proud of her and like she should have been like better than she was, but she wasn't, and so that's what eventually leads to like her suicide.
Interesting. I mean, that could have been it. That could be it. I kind of thought of it as like maybe this was like
Find out more on our next David Lynch episode.
their representation of like how she felt when she got there.
Yeah.
And then She just sees it as like a negative now because she had all these high hopes and dreams and other people were wishing her well and she just utterly failed.
Yeah. I could definitely see that. I think when you get to specific levels of stress and like people are still like praising you, I feel like it's not helpful. Like it's just like stop doing this. Like I need some space to just fucking not be okay for a little bit. You know, like the pressure of wanting to be someone that you need to be isn't helpful in moments when you're like fucking going through it.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, should we get to our reviews?
Let's do it.
All right. So, Rotten Tomatoes gave this film an 84%, and IMDb currently has it as a 7.9. Our boy, Roger Ebert, gave it a 4 out of 4, which is kind of
Wow.
crazy because he is known for being pretty harsh on Lynch's films. And this is like a paraphrase. He basically said like all of Lynch's previous works was him working up to this moment, and like this movie doesn't make sense, but like in a good way for the first time of his career, pretty much. So he gave it a 4 out of 4. Twan, why don't you start us off again this week because you're the one who's been banging for a Lynch film for a minute to pop back up on the pod. So why don't you start us off?
All right, for sure. Yeah, well, as we've mentioned throughout the pod, this movie is definitely the type of movie that's built for interpretation. So it's going to make sense if we all have different critiques of the movie, but as a whole, the movie did feel oddly paced, and after doing some of the research, it that was on purpose. Which I mean, it to each their own. I didn't really enjoy that much, but it is what we've come to expect from David Lynch, especially after we had already watched Eraserhead. At the forefront of this movie, we're met with like these dream-like sequences, some that seem to have like no purpose to the film at all. But again, that was kind of like the point of the movie. And we did mention this earlier, but it felt kind of like waking life at some points. But overall, this is just classic David Lynch. And yeah, it was his magnum opus. But I think I enjoyed Eraserhead more than I enjoyed this movie because Eraserhead was just able to evoke such a strong feeling of like just an unsettling feeling that is definitely unique to that specific film. And I thought that we would be getting that same type of feeling from watching this movie, but I was wrong. Instead, I had feelings of confusion throughout the film. This movie definitely felt more melodramatic than Eraserhead, and it definitely had more of a dreamlike feeling, whereas Eraserhead kind of felt more like a nightmare. And with that being said, if you're interested in the film, that will force you to think and have your own interpretation, I would definitely recommend this movie. But if you don't care for films that cause you to think, or if you want to watch something just for the fuck of it, or if you want to put something on in the background while you do other things, don't put on this movie. It's just there's so much to take in and to digest that you really actually have to like pay attention to the movie for what it is. And my grade I'm kind of scoring it based off of Eraserhead, and I gave that movie a B minus. So if that movie was a B minus, and this movie is a C plus for me, I mean it was okay, but it didn't evoke strong emotions like Eraserhead did, for me at least. And I know it's like a completely different type of movie. It was made like 30 years after. It's just like I can't bang for this movie like like I did for Eraserhead, and I would much rather feel unsettled and uneasy than feel confused throughout a movie. So yeah, C plus for me.
Nice. I know you mentioned earlier that I said that I felt like my grade was going higher as
Yeah,
we talked about it, and you said you were going lower. So did you have it at a B minus originally?
I did. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Saya, why don't you go next?
I give this movie a B. I thought that I would like it a little bit more considering how much like I enjoyed Eraserhead. And I think I mentioned in the beginning, like Eraserhead's, and I think Twan, you mentioned it too. Eraserhead is really like dark. It invokes like really weird, really weird like feelings. This one is weird, but it's not as weird as it could potentially be. Definitely a different type of movie. Like we're talking about 30 years later, David Lynch, and it's a little bit more formed, and there's more of like a story that happens that you can definitely follow through. But it didn't hit the same way I thought it was gonna hit. Definitely a slow burn. Um, and there's honestly not a point in time where it feels like it's like popping off like completely. I think the hitman scene is probably the most amount of murders that we see in like one span of like what how long is that scene? That's I think that scene is like 5 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. It's like a chaotic five.
Yeah, and like that's probably like the most amount of popping off that we really see. Everything else is super duper slow burn. And I feel like the climax is maybe the last like 2 minutes of the movie, and then the movie ends, and then that's it. So there's no like resolution really. It's just it leaves you kind of. I left me kind of like I almost felt like I was like hanging. Like I wanted like maybe something like some type of like different close other than the Silencio close. Like I think he tried to end it in that. I mean, I feel like it ended in the same way that Eraserhead did when it kind of like leaves you kind of questioning and wanting more. But I feel like it could have gone a little bit deeper in. But also considering that this was supposed to be a TV show, I could understand why it ended like that. I would recommend this movie for people that like David Lynch for sure. It's a David Lynch movie, like 100%. If you don't like Lynch movies, then probably not for you. But yeah, this was one of those movies, and I mean, I liked it. It just wasn't 100 for me. You know what I mean? Wasn't an A, but it was still a solid movie. Also, Naomi Watts, um, titties are in this movie, so that might be an interesting pull for you as well if you're interested in seeing that. Um, check that out.
Nice. I'm right there with you. I'll finish it off. I gave it a B as well. I on initial watch I had it at a B minus. I believe I gave Eraserhead a B minus.
Mm.
I did enjoy this movie more than Eraserhead. Eraserhead, I was a lot more confused at. For I feel like I was able to kind of piece this movie together a little bit easier. It is a long movie. I don't know if we mentioned it. It's like 2 hours and 27 minutes. And the first like 45 minutes of this movie is pretty slow.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that happen that don't really go anywhere. They're just like inconsequential, but which is kind of interesting once you kind of realize like, oh, it was all a dream, because a dream can be like that. Things will happen in a dream that don't really mean anything to the larger journey of your dream. So I think that was kind of cool. And then after learning that this was based on a TV series, I could be like, oh, that was probably just going to be like a subplot of the TV series, but he just kept it in there anyways.
Yeah.
But I thought the movie was overall pretty good after talking about it. I feel like this is definitely a movie. If you haven't seen it, watch it with somebody who else is interested in seeing it, and you guys can like just discuss it afterwards. Because it is a movie I think that makes sense after kind of working through it. It is an odd movie. It's a slow movie. I like the use of like the music and the atmospheric sounds in this movie, much like Eraserhead. I feel like that's something we didn't touch on too much, but that's something I feel like David Lynch movies have been like are very good at doing. Like they can kind of get emotions and stuff across without having dialogue, which I really enjoy. And I thought Naomi Watts' acting in this movie was really good. At first I was like, damn, this is like pretty bad. But then seeing her transition into like the different characters, I thought was really good. Like Diane versus with Betty was super cool. So I enjoyed that aspect of the movie. Yeah, the ending was like bonkers weird. I don't like for different reasons maybe than you say. Like I kind of wish it was different too, but maybe in a way that made a little bit more sense.
Mhm.
I don't know because it was
Yeah.
it was out there. It was out there for sure. But overall, I enjoyed it. Would I recommend it? If you like a slow burn movie, if you're into like a more avant garde kind of like weird film that's not going to give you all the answers and you kind of got to piece together on your own, then yes. If you want like a more, I don't want to say like constructed thriller, probably not. Like this is a very
Yeah.
acquired taste kind of movie for sure.
Yeah, I feel it. You have to already like Lynch movies or
Or at
like
least these types of movies.
these type of like kind of mystery noir, like weird movies. You got to be in it already. So really
If it's not your thing, then you're probably not gonna enjoy it.
yeah.
But it was cool. I give it a B. I'd probably watch it again. Maybe not for a while. It is a lot to digest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was cool. All right.
What
So
about
we
the
got
titties?
and the titties. Laura Herring is very attractive in this movie.
I do that for the boys.
She looks very good throughout.
Sorry, the guy brain just coming in for a little bit.
No, the lesbian scenes are hot. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
They're hot. So we got a B from me, a B from Saya, and a C plus from Twan. I feel like this is one of the movies we rated pretty good, and we're kind of giving a tentative recommend. But let's move on to the wheel and see what we're going to do next week. So, what was the movie you wanted me to add, Saya? Low something?
Lost Highway,
Lost
Lost
Highway.
Lost Highway.
Inland Empire.
Inland Empire.
Inland Empire.
Empire. I definitely
Maybe Elephant Man.
Elephant.
Just all the Lynch movies. Elephant Man.
Yeah. It's just fuck it.
Fuck it. This is a
Not
David
Lynch movie, but this
podcast.
dawned on me. Thinking about how our first
Dawn of the
episode
Planet
is
of the Apes?
on 420, so I'm gonna put Grandma's Boy on there.
Wow, my boy.
Oh, I fucking love that movie.
Can
It's
we
a
also-
cult classic. It did
also
not
put it
rate
on-
well, and it didn't make any money.
Oh, we went
Oh,
over
The Signal?
to
No.
Burbank. Oh,
No,
the Signal
No.
too. Yo, that one would be a good one.
I think the signal's on here. Is that the one that with the TV that makes people go crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think it is on here. That was a Netflix movie. I remember that one.
Damn, I forgot what movie we went to go see in Burbank.
It's
Oh, the Star Wars movie?
Fanboys.
Yeah, the Star Wars one. Yeah,
Fanboys.
Fanboys.
I didn't shuffle them. Let me shuffle them.
I would like Pulse.
Roar.
Rolls. I want something funny, man. Like
I
after
want-
this weird ass movie, I want something funny.
I want Pulse. I want some fucking Japanese horror. Give me that shit. Put it in my body.
Let's see what happened.
I want Roar. Just give us the shit movie.
Let's spin it.
Shit movie with 30 tigers.
Something
Or
hilarious.
30 tigers?
Or,
Yeah.
yeah, they've used real lions.
I remember.
It was a fuck ton. It was kind of an obscene amount.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, Ready to Rumble would have been nice.
Oh, that's a good one.
Is it spinning? It looks like it's
Yeah.
lagging. Oh, it's just going slow.
Gummo? Is it gonna be fucking Gummo? Oh, it's gonna be Judge Dredd.
The
It's the
original
lone one.
Judge Dredd?
Judge Dredd. Another
Damn.
sequel.
Yeah.
Okay. I've never seen this one, so
Judge.
This is the OG one, yeah?
yeah. Mhm.
Yep. Judge Dredd featuring Stallone, the 90s one.
I'm
1995 movie. All right.
I'm looking at I googled it and I saw the IMDb and the Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, it is not rated. It is not well regarded film.
Yeah.
This is we're going back to our like our B cult classic, like
This is back
Yeah.
when superhero movies were bad.
yeah.
IMDb of a 5.6.
We can't go into it comparing it to the modern Dread because
I am.
Oh, I absolutely am going to do that. All right, so this is me quoting it now. I may cut this for time, but I like this movie. So this movie I saw as a kid, so I like this movie for all the reasons a kid would like this movie.
Okay.
It is just an action movie with action stuff.
Action
Action.
And
Okay.
it has-
coming to you this summer.
all right, so just I guess sticking with the theme for the past week, we are going to kind of revisit a movie we've covered before. So we are going to look at the 1995 film Judge Dredd, starring Sylvester Stallone and Diane Lane. Should be interesting. This is a movie that I liked a lot as a kid. I'm curious to see if it still holds up. I haven't seen this movie sober in a very long time. Every time I've watched this movie as an adult, I have been fucked up. So it'll be fun to see if it still holds up.
Nice.
Thank you guys for joining us this week as we covered David Lynch's magnum opus, Mulholland Drive. We got a B from myself, a B from Saya, and a C+ from Twan, with a tentative recommend if you like weird movies that don't really make sense.
Yeah.
If you guys want to donate to the pod and help support us, you could do so by clicking the donation link at the bottom of each episode. But if not, it's totally cool. We love making the pod. We love joining you guys each week. If you guys haven't done so already, give us a follow on our social medias. We are on Facebook, Instagram, X/Twitter, YouTube, TikTok for as long as it's still around,
One more day.
week.
and
yeah.
Threads. Oh, TikTok goes away tomorrow?
Yeah.
Damn, that was fast.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder
we
if you
gotta-
just
we gotta
set
switch
your
over to the-
VPN to like
To Red Note.
Singapore or something.
Yep.
It'll just work.
We're gonna switch over to Red Note soon.
Yeah.
Are we really? The even more Chinese app?
Yeah,
All
why not?
right. Fuck it. As always,
Live.
I have been your host, The Dale, followed by my two co-hosts, Mr. Saya
Adios.
and Twan.
Bye.
Catch you guys next week. Bye.